Japan has been ranked #1 in the world in regards to public safety for the last 8 years. The reason? A special task force was designed to take out criminals and terrorists before they can commit their crimes. This secret task force is known as the Lycoris. Cute girls doing cute things? Nah son, cute girls doing acts of counter-terrorism.
Bomb has been defused.
We start things off by meeting Chisato Nishikigi in her apartment getting ready for work, when her phone goes off and her boss, Mika, tells her that she needs to arrive at the location earlier than they previously planned. While she makes her way out, we see the city beginning to wake up, and all of the would-be criminals making their moves. That is until each and every one of them gets shut down and killed by teenage girls dressed in school uniforms, which is done in a way that the citizens of Tokyo never even knew they were in any danger to begin with. Elsewhere, we see the main operating center of the organization that uses the Lycoris, the DA. There, we see that even though most of the missions set for today have been accomplished, the Alpha Group's arms deal mission is still in a deadlock. The commander of the DA, Kusunoki, then contacts Mika, asking him if Chisato has shown up yet. He says not yet, but she should be here soon, then revealing that one of their agents, Erica, is in danger and being held hostage, before requesting permission to open fire, which is denied by the commander as they want to catch the arms dealer alive so they can gather information from him. The leader of Alpha Group then pleads for permission, stating they can save her while non-lethally taking down the arms dealer. However, communication is then blocked and we see the DA getting hacked by an unknown individual. Back to the action. The goons are giving Alpha Squad till the count of 10 to come out before they kill Erica. We then see a member of the group, Takana, spotting an unattended belt-fed machine gun right beside her. Outside, we see Chisato running up the stairs trying to get to them, although she's still got a few floors to go. Back inside, they're almost finished counting to 10 and the group leader is still sticking with what the DA had told them, despite the possibility of Erica being killed. But Takana has other plans.
Anyway, I started blasting.
And blast she does, killing all of the goons. Afterwards, Erica turns out to be fine, but the group leader accuses Takana of trying to kill her. Takana responds by saying she's alive at least, isn't she? Which angers the leader, causing her to run up and punch Takana in the face. Some time passes, and we see that Takana is being transferred from the headquarters of the DA to a new assignment location, which is a coffee shop under the name of Lyco-Reco. As she makes her way inside, she makes brief introductions with Mika and Mizuki, the latter of which she mistakes as Chisato, but is actually just a former member of the DA's intelligence division currently working here. Just then, the upbeat Chisato makes her way in, and upon being told that Takana is the new Lycoris that's going to be her partner, she becomes incredibly excited, which is at odds with how calm and collected Takana is. They then go around doing some incredibly important tasks, such as helping out a preschool, a language school, and dropping off some coffee to a Yakuza office. All of which confuses Takana, and she asks what exactly this division does. And after thinking hard on it for a second, Chisato tells her that it's their job to help those in trouble. But they're now going to be switching up gears a bit and heading to a police station to help with something a bit more serious. Elsewhere, we see Maki talking with Kusunoki about the arms deal case. According to the intel they received, there should have been at least 1,000 guns there. But now they're missing and they weren't able to gather information due to the fact that Takana blasted everyone there away. They hang up and her secretary walks in with information relating to the hack. The hacker is an individual known as Walnut, an infamous hacker from the dawn of the internet. Kusunoki then orders for the elimination of this Walnut, before stating that the information about this hack taking place is to be kept top secret. Meanwhile, at the police station, Chisato and Takana meet with an officer who is asking for their help in a stalking case. Thinking that because they're girls, they'll be able to help the victim open up. They accept, and shortly after, they meet with the woman that's being stalked. She opens up by saying that ever since she uploaded this photo to social media, she has received threatening comments and is being followed by strange individuals. Takana zooms in on the background, and we see it's the same building she lit up earlier. Only this picture was taken 3 hours before that incident occurred. And standing there in the background are the individuals who actually conducted the arms deal, meaning that the intel the DA received was just completely wrong about the time. Afterwards, they decide that due to this potentially leading them to the people who might know about the arms deal, they'll keep an eye on the woman and stay with her for the night. Chisato goes off to get supplies for the night, and Takana stays with her. Night falls, and as they're walking, Takana notices a white van following close behind them. So Takana does what anyone would do, use the woman as bait to try and lure out the men stalking her. As the men in the van begin trying to abduct her and delete the image off her phone, Takana blocks their path and begins shooting into the van towards the the men. Just then, Chisato shows up, pulls her aside, and asks her what she's doing. Takana explains the situation, and Chisato is annoyed at her using the woman as a decoy, before going in herself and, like John Wick, effortlessly mows down the men. Except instead of using normal killing bullets, she uses non-lethal ones to dispatch them. Chisato then heals one of the men hit by Takana's bullets before saving the woman. Elsewhere, we see an unknown man talking with the hacker known as 4chan. Walnut, in regards to the hit on the DA he hired him to do. Walnut then asks the man about his reasons behind involving himself with the arms deal, which is apparently not the right thing to ask, as the man gives a sign towards his secretary, and we see the building Walnut is in explode. Afterwards, back at the cafe, we see Takana in uniform, when the unknown man we saw in the car walks in, seemingly familiar with the owner. About a month later, it's revealed that Walnut survived the attempt on his life, and is now talking with fellow hacker Robota about the Allen Institute, which is a mysterious support group that has expanded out massively in the world recently. Walnut is trying to figure out why a group that helps so many different people in the world would be trying to get rid of him, or even how they knew where he lives. Through their talking though, Walnut figures out that the person he is talking to is the one that sold him out. Meanwhile, we see that the unknown man from the car turns out to be a regular at the cafe, and goes by the name Mr. Yoshi. After he leaves, Chisato and Takana are tasked with rescuing Walnut from hitmen hired by Robota, and to escort him to safety. As they reach the location where they're meant to meet up, a car suddenly comes flying over, and in the front seat is Walnut in a giant squirrel costume. He explains that there are pursuers coming and they need to get in now. As they begin driving, Takana asks what the deal with the giant suitcase strapped to the front seat is. Walnut explains that it's his entire life's belongings. Seeing as he's trying to flee the country, it would make sense for him to travel light. The car they're in then suddenly misses the turnoff for the highway, and they lose control of it as it seems Robota has somehow taken it over, and is planning to drive them into the ocean. Just as they're about to, Takana shoots the drone controlled by Robota nearby that has been following them, severing the connection to the car and barely stopping them from plunging into the ocean. As they get out though, they don't get to wait around for long, as the hitmen have found their location, forcing them into an abandoned supermarket. Upon contacting Mika, they are told a route that will let them escape from the incoming hitmen. As they begin to go for it though, the men storm into the building and begin opening fire onto them. Takana, who is caught out in the open, uses the suitcase as a shield while Chisato flanks around. Side note, what the fuck is this suitcase made of? It just took like 60 rounds of rifle ammo. Anyway, Chisato easily dispatches everyone she comes across on her flank, but as Takana and Walnut reach her location, she begins to get lined up by a man behind her, when she then proceeds to effortlessly dodge every single bullet that gets fired at her. After dealing with all of the threats, she then proceeds to give a man that was shot by Takana just before first aid, telling the pair to go on ahead and that she'll be right behind them. The goon is confused as to what she's doing and why she's healing him, but she doesn't really explain and just tells him to get some iron in his diet for the blood loss. As she leaves, he tells her not to go that way, as the hacker's drone and a full ambush is waiting. She then races after them and we cut to the pair, with Walnut absent-mindedly walking out the back door. Just as he makes his way out of the door, a shot takes him in the chest, followed by a full volley of gunfire, taking him out.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Takana tells Maki that their target has died, and he informs them that an ambulance will be arriving soon, and that they need to gather up the luggage and the corpse and get away from there. Elsewhere, we see Mr. Yoshi expressing how pleased he is with Robota completing all of the requests he set out for him, including the killing of Walnut. Meanwhile, now in the ambulance, Takana apologizes for the failure of the mission, but Chisato says it's not her fault. Just then, Walnut says he supposes it's been long enough now, and like Jesus, rises from the dead, taking off the squirrel head, revealing Mizuki underneath and Maki in the driver's seat, the former having acted as Walnut's body double in a bulletproof suit. Mizuki and Maki had formulated this elaborate plan in order to fake Walnut's death. They then wonder where the real Walnut is, and the suitcase begins to open, out of which a young girl emerges, the real Walnut, whose name is Kurumi. She sure is lucky that suitcase is very, very bulletproof. Afterwards, she decides to take shelter in the Lyco-Reco, to keep a low profile for the time being. In return for this, she'll use her hacking abilities to help Takana and Chisato, and she also gets this cool little gamer cave. Some time passes, and despite Takana having worked at Lyco-Reco for quite a while now, she still remains distant from Chisato and the cafe regulars, not participating in the board game nights or various events that this quirked up cafe goes on. When Maki asks her why she doesn't want to join, she simply states that playing games won't help her get back into the DA, so it would be a waste of time. While Takana is changing out of her work clothes, Maki reminds Chisato that she needs to go up to headquarters for her physical and health checkup, otherwise she won't be able to work. Overhearing this, Takana pleads with Chisato to let her come with, so she can have an opportunity to talk with the commander and be reinstated, which she accepts. Upon making their way into HQ, Takana begins to get bullied by the other Lycoris, due to a rumor going around that she enjoyed firing on her teammates. And to her dismay, her previous team leader, Fuki, has already found a replacement for Takana, a Lycoris by the name of Sakura. And even worse, upon Chisato meeting with the commander, she reveals that she never had any intention of reinstating Takana back to HQ. This angers Chisato, and she figures out from Fuki letting slip that there was radio interference during the mission, that the DA's advanced AI system, Radiata, was hacked, which is a massive deal as it's supposed to be impenetrable, so they're using Takana as a scapegoat to cover it up. Afterwards, Fuki and Sakura challenge Chisato and Takana to a mock battle, to prove that the DA doesn't need Takana anymore. And while Chisato is super keen, Takana is not so much, and leaves the area. Chisato then finds her not too long after, where Takana tells her that everything in her life has led her to wanting to work for the DA and live in HQ. And now that that's been taken away, she doesn't know what to do anymore. Chisato then reveals that how they're treating her has nothing to do with her opening fire on the men in the arms deal, and that they're simply using her as a cover-up. Takana then wants to confront the commander, but Chisato tells her that she'll just feign ignorance and that for now, all they can do is just move on. Chisato then goes on to the match, planning to 2v1 Fuki and Sakura. A crowd gathers and the match starts, with Chisato absolutely styling on both of them. However, not yet eliminating them. We then cut to Takana, thinking on her conversation with Chisato, seeming to take her words to heart. Back to the action. Chisato is moving in and this time isn't holding back, quickly eliminating Sakura. Fuki then lines up Chisato, but before firing, out comes Takana, delivering back the punch she received earlier, before relying on Chisato's near superhuman ability to instantly predict bullet trajectories to dodge the shot, landing a shot clean on Fuki's head. As they return back to Lyco-Reco, Takana has a newfound respect for Chisato and the way she lives her life, and decides to attend a game session with her and the cafe regulars. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It only takes a second and it really helps me out.